for him last time out against Florida State, and he gets a lot of credit for saving North Carolina's season. We'll see what the Tar Heels are able to do on the road. They've been great at home, struggled on the road at times.
Quincy Guerrier will jump for Syracuse. It's Armando Bacot for North Carolina. Roger Ayers will throw the ball in the air. He's working with Jamie Luckey and Clarence Armstrong. Guerrier didn't even go up for it, and that's the story to follow here tonight. He's playing with a very sore left knee, playing knees in their loss at Georgia Tech on Saturday. Jim Boeheim wasn't sure if he'd be able to give it a go tonight, but he's going to try. Caleb Love is the point guard. Kerwin Walton, a three-point shooter. And it's Garrison Brooks from the free throw line.
Garrison Brooks had a big game against Syracuse the last time out, a double-double for he and Armando Bacot. Both guys with double-doubles in their starting lineup, but it was more so about offensive class. 24 offensive rebounds for North Carolina in that game.
Joseph Girard III for Syracuse. There's the North Carolina starting lineup, and it's the same five to open for the 13th game in a row. They are a deep team. Walton, their leading three-point shooter, off the mark. And there's the problem you were talking about for Syracuse. The offensive rebounds for Carolina, that was Armando Bacot.
Yeah, 24 offensive rebounds for 24 points in the first matchup between these two. And you know this very well, Sean. That's been really the Achilles heel for the Orange all season long, is finishing plays on the defensive end of the floor by gathering the defensive board.
Coach Boeheim says it's the size and strength of the North Carolina front court inside that causes his team a problem. That's an offensive foul as Marek Dolajai stood in and took the hit, even with that big edge on the glass for Roy Williams' team. That was a competitive game. Into the final minute, Roy talking today, it was a one-possession game with under a minute to go, won by North Carolina 81-75.
Sean, that was a game where North Carolina only shot 39.7% from the field and 21% from three. So it's not a great shooting team, and that's something I'm sure Jim Boeheim is going to try to exploit in this game.
After Buddy Boeheim's missed three, Carolina tried to run out. Joseph Girard saved it for Jim Boeheim. 11-1 here in the Dome. The only loss to Pittsburgh, a 3-point defeat. They had an 18-point lead in that contest, but we mentioned the resume needs bolstering. It's almost to the point now, according to Joe Lunardi, with whom I spoke today, where they might have to win the ACC tournament to get into the NCAA field. Joe Girard off the mark, and a rebound by Bacot.
But this is a great opportunity for Syracuse to get a win on their home court and really get back into the conversation. I understand that it's going to be a long road for them to try to make it into the NCAA tournament, but they have great opportunities when you get to the ACC tournament as well. So for Coach Boeheim, I'm sure it's simply about playing one game at a time, but I know his guys want to try to find a way to get back into the tournament next.
Boeheim's been shooting the ball better over the last month or so, but off the mark to start tonight's game. He needs 16 points to become a 1,000 career point scorer. So that could happen tonight. He'd be the 64th Syracuse player to reach 1,000.
Well, he scored 18 in the first half against North Carolina on January 12th. So again, Roy Williams knows his number very well, and Buddy Boeheim will get a lot of attention in this game.
Buddy didn't score in the second half at all, so his team did a much better job with Coach Williams defensively. Kerwin Walton just did beat the shot clock buzzer, and that's a rare 2-point field goal. Just his 17th of the year. He's made 47 threes, more than twice as many as the next two combined for North Carolina. Marek Dolajai missed a bunny. Try to go inside, and Dolajai is called for a hold as he tried to defend Armando Bacot.
As you mentioned, Kerwin Walton getting into the painted area, doing damage at the rim. That's not his forte. He's a guy that shoots the three extremely well. He's been a difference maker in this North Carolina lineup. Once he came into the starting lineup, has not relinquished that spot, but has been the one guy that's been able to consistently stretch the floor for his team.
They're not a good three-point shooting team, just under 31%. Kessler in the game early, and he had a nice feed underneath. And the bucket for Day'Ron Sharp, who's also in off the bench early.
With interior has been a struggle for Syracuse on the season. The luxury for Roy Williams is when you take out Bacot and Brooks, you bring in 2 McDonald's All-American freshmen who both have been getting better game after game.
Gerard wide left. Guerrier trying to compete on the offensive glass. Love, the highly touted freshman. Kessler kept it alive. And Guerrier, playing on that sore knee, hit the deck. You just see again the size and strength inside. The big factor here early. Jesse Edwards in for Coach Boeheim, guilty of that foul. And it gets us to time Jim Boeheim number 2. Bob Knight number 3, but Roy's 2 away from tying. Knight 3 away from passing him. Roy did it in 1,161 games. 482 wins at North Carolina, 418 in 15 years at Kansas. He's the only coach to win 400 games plus at 2 Division I schools. And Corey, the rebounding already a nightmare for the Orange. North Carolina has out-rebounded Syracuse 9-1.
And that's one of the main reasons I wanted to get that in the first sentence, because it was going to be so important to this game. Talking with Jerry McNamara beforehand, asked him, hey, what do you guys need to do to come away with the win? He simply said, get back on defense and rebound, because they kill us on the glass. And when you've got Walker Kessler scoring the basketball this easily, it's going to be a long night for the Orange if they don't come up with a way to find some resistance.
Kessler, the career high. He's a freshman, 20 points. He also had 8 rebounds, 4 block shots. He played 24 minutes. That's 10 minutes more than he played in any other game in his career. Jesse Edwards is seeing more playing time up front for Syracuse lately. Gets back on defense as well to take it away. Roy Williams said Kessler's been working hard in practice. He's been getting better. Roy wasn't particularly happy with the way some of the other big men played. There's a travel on Joe Gerard in that first half when they fell behind the Seminoles by 16 points. So he let Walker and Kessler continue to play in the second half.
Well, when you play the way Walker Kessler's been playing as of late, you're going to get more minutes, and you see the nice touch, the nice jump hook going over the left shoulder. But Walker Kessler is extremely skilled when you think about his ability to shoot the basketball from the outside. Where he lacks with the Carolina quartet is he's not as strong. He's not as physical as those other guys. But when it comes to skill, he's probably the most skilled of all the bigs.
7-1, 245. Part of the problem for Kessler, Coach Williams told us, was that twice before the season started, he had to sit down for contact tracing. That cost him about 2 weeks of valuable practice time in the preseason. Dari Richmond in off the Syracuse bench at guard. Count the bucket from Marek Dolajaj. And Kessler the foul. And the native of Slovakia, senior Dolajaj, will have a chance for a three-point play.
And I love watching Dolajaj play. You're talking about a guy 6'9", 6'10", with tremendous skill, but really guard-like skills oftentimes be to put the basketball on the floor. And we know he leads the team in assists. He's a great passer. So when he's one of the guys, Sean, that I think about with the rule that the NCAA stated with guys being able to come back and this year's kind of being a wash. Will we see Dolajaj back next year? And if so, I think that could bolster this Syracuse lineup.
He's also an excellent free throw shooter. He made the free throw. He's 86%. Second in the ACC. That's a block for Alan Griffin, the team leader in block shots. Despite being dominated on the board, Syracuse down by only 4 with the ball. Griffin had 26 Saturday in their loss to Georgia Tech. Edwards had it rejected by Bacot. R.J. Davis, number 4, with the ball now in for the Tar Heels. Anthony Harris is in as well. He just fed Bacot. Great ball movement. Walton, the high arcing 3 wouldn't go, and it's run down by Edwards. Sophomore from Amsterdam. And Boeheim open for 3, and all of a sudden it's a 1-point game.
And there's my buddy finding the spot on the wing. And of course, when he's been shooting the basketball very well, when he gets open opportunities like that, Coach Williams is going to cringe on the other side of the floor. For North Carolina, as well as they run defensive, they're going to have to, offensively, they're going to have to do the same, getting back on the defensive end.
Carolina got a little sloppy with the ball after building that lead. 4 turnovers, contributing to that 8 straight points for the Cuse.
That's one of the areas where North Carolina has struggled recently. 13 assists, only 13 assists against Marquette to 19 turnovers, and then had 21 turnovers against Florida State, even though they were able to win that game.
Well, Bacot's size and strength got a second chance opportunity, and Brooks was fouled.
A fast break, 2021. You don't run to the basket, you run to the three-point line. Buddy Boeheim letting everyone in the building know, I'm open, make sure you get me the basketball. Kadar Richmond does a great job keeping his head up and finding Buddy in the corner.
Brooks missed the first free throw. Buddy with that bucket, now 13 points away from 1,000 for his career. That was the 189th three-point field goal of his career. One more to tie Marius Giannoulis for 8th place all time.
Do you remember Marius Giannoulis?
I do.
Of course you do.
90s.
Okay. I don't remember Marius. not even going to stretch that one on.
Look at that 3-on-0 for North Carolina. The dunk was missed by Harris. They continue to play volleyball around the rim, and Bacot dropped it in.
Yeah, once again, even though Harris missed the dunk, you've got 3 offensive opportunities right there for North Carolina until they come away with the 2 second chance points. As Jim Boeheim is pleading with the officials to understand that someone was on the out of bounds line just after the basketball, but no call.
Carolina loves to run. They have for a very long time. And again, Brooks can just stand there all day. Too big, too strong. And up by 4.
And North Carolina getting out in transition. And Harris unable to finish the dunk. However, his team is there to pick him up. And North Carolina holding a 4-point lead here.
TheUndefeated.com. Always interesting and compelling content there. Really proud of what they did here at Syracuse. They have an enormous MLK Day celebration led by Dean Brian Conkle of Hendricks Chapel, Sean Dorcelis, a student here. Had to do it virtually this year. Most years they have thousands of people in person for it. Sean McDonough, Corey Alexander, we're at the Carrier Dome in balmy Syracuse, New York, where it's 27 degrees and snowing outside.
And Sean, well, we ran into each other this morning, and of course our workouts. I told you this is the first time I've been to Syracuse in the last 5-6 years, and it hadn't snowed. And of course,
it started snowing while you were working out, and I was still searching for the vending machine.
I'm not going to let America believe that you were getting it in, my man.
North Carolina leading by 4. They've out-rebounded Syracuse 18-3. Garrison Brooks a miss, and even Andrew Platek for a moment on the offensive glass. That was the difference in the North Carolina win at Chapel Hill in mid-January. The domination on the glass, particularly at the offensive end.
Yeah, but you talk about that game, it was a +17 margin for the game, and right now North Carolina with a +15 margin within the first 9 minutes of this game. So Syracuse is going to have to figure out something here relatively soon. Try to find a way to keep the Tar Heels off the glass.
We should point out it was in the high 40s here yesterday when we landed in Syracuse, New York. Harris out of the corner, another offensive rebound.
And now 3 opportunities for North Carolina on this possession. And when you get this many chances, you're going to score the basketball. I mean, you can shoot 33% and still win the game. And North Carolina shot 39%, won the game in Chapel Hill, and Jim Boeheim not happy with what he's seeing.
Well,
watching this.
And I mean, it's even more super because usually the doubleheader. At 5, Baylor squares off against red-hot West Virginia, up to number 6 in the AP poll out today. A sonic blockbuster, Illinois and Michigan, 4 and 2 respectively. And then Kentucky and Ole Miss. It starts at 5 Eastern time tomorrow. 3 of the top 5 teams in the AP poll out today from the Big Ten. Gonzaga remained number 1. Michigan vaulted over Baylor into number 2. Then you have Illinois and Iowa.
Baylor, after their first loss of the season, losing at Kansas, dropping to number 3. Michigan jumping into the 2 spot right now. Unfortunately for Baylor, just a ill-timed COVID pause. Not that there's ever a good time for it, but
I think I'll do mine next week. No, there's never a good time. Buddy Boeheim, a 3 that just beat the shot clock buzzer. And Coach Drew said that when you miss as much time as they did, what was it, 19 days without a game, and the guys just lose their conditioning. And Kansas has also refound its form.
They have. Kansas has played very well. My guy David McCormick doing a great job on the interior. He was a handful against Baylor on Saturday, and he may have exposed something that I'm not sure the Bears have seen much of this year. And that could be a problem for them once they get into the NCAA tournament.
Good hands by Kadari Richmond, the freshman, who's 3rd in the conference in steals, just under 2 per game. Out of bounds, it'll be Syracuse ball. Richmond also plagued lately by a lower body injury. See, looks like he's limping around a little bit. Coach Boeheim was hoping he'd fight through it. He managed to play only 9 minutes at Georgia Tech Saturday. A talented freshman, particularly on the defensive end.
Agreed, Shauna. I have him on my all-ACC rookie team. And when you consider he's 3rd in the ACC in steals per game, but more importantly, coming off the bench and the spark that he provides on both ends of the floor, getting this team involved. He's had a number of big games in ACC play this year, been a valuable member of the Orange.
Quincy Guerrier, nice spin move on the baseline, but good hands by Leaky Black. He deflected it out off of Guerrier. And Richmond does all that in just 22 minutes a game.
Yeah, I mean, he's special. And what he does, he reminds you of what Syracuse has looked like forever and what they're supposed to look like at the top of that zone. Is Day'Ron Sharpe goes over the top for an easy bucket. And right now, Coach Boeheim conversating with Kadari Richmond because he did not drop back down into position, but turnover.
Really sloppy turnover by the freshman Richmond, and the dunk by Leaky Black.
Well, that's normally the way it works, though. We start talking so well about a player, and you know.
Did you take him off your all-freshman team?
No, that's it. That's it. But another pass like that, Coach Boeheim's not going to allow me to put him on there.
Buddy Boeheim, long with a 3. Taken back for the Cuse by Marek Dolajai. 10 players have already played in this game for North Carolina, one of the deepest teams in the country. Edwards posting up inside, shuffled his feet. Couldn't take advantage of the fact that much smaller Caleb Love was on him.
Well, North Carolina only shooting 37.5% from the field, but when you get high quality looks, as does Day'Ron Sharpe on the interior, and Leaky Black getting out in transition, the game becomes much easier, and it just happens to increase your percentage. North Carolina by 7.
Has 13 points, Seth.
Yeah, Hauser, Huff, and Murphy lead the way for Virginia offensively, but I got a question for my man over there, the Cavalier. It's defense I'm concerned about with the Cavs.
Well, Coach, one thing that we both know, defensively, if you're not athletic, you have a problem. And Virginia lost a lot of athleticism up front with the defense from a year ago, and that has been the issue this year, all year long. Fonz and I have talked about it a lot, and right now they just can't recover to a lot of the areas where they're used to being able to recover. They make up with it with their shooting. But Virginia right now trying to get back their confidence, and they struggled over the last 3 games.
Oh, nice rebound by Jesse Edwards. See that he needs to add some strength, but really has some skill. Guerrier inside. Kessler there to deny him.
Sean, it's clear that Guerrier's not 100%. You know, we watched him in warm-ups, and he was a bit gimpy, but right now the explosiveness that he normally plays with just is not there, especially when you consider how much they need him to on the glass, and it's just difficult for him to compete with his size.
There's Kessler inside for a dunk. Before we get too far away from the cut-in, we don't have a monitor where we can see the studio tonight. Another COVID protocol. Although I don't think we get COVID from the 3 of them from this distance. However, we digress. Was LaFonso in? I thought I heard Kevin mention him. But did he say anything?
I don't think Fonz said anything.
Did Seth?
Yeah, but it was Seth didn't want Fonz to talk. So
that's why I'm asking.
Coach Greenberg was just talking to me. See, if Fonz would have been talking to you.
If Syracuse could box out like Seth did on LaFonso, that cut in. This might be a more competitive game. It's still a 6-point game miraculously, given the rebounding disparity, which is now 25-9.
And that is amazing. We mentioned how big of a spread it was rebounding in the game on January 12th. However, it was still a very close game.
Bacot has as many rebounds himself as the entire Syracuse team. Boeheim thought it should have been Syracuse's ball out of bounds. Didn't hurt them in that instance. Richmond all the way to the bucket. He lays it in.
He's on his way back, Sean. He's on his way back. He's going to stay on the team right now.
All right.
But, I mean, when you look at it, it's a 4-point game. I mean, we talked about the dominant numbers North Carolina has regarding their second chance points and in the paint. But Syracuse has hung around, and we know they can make shots in this building. At some point, if they can find some rhythm on the offensive end of the floor, they find themselves coming away with the win.
Guerrier, good hands to bat it away inside. Gerard staggered and then threw it away. Coming up next on ESPN, the app at 9 o'clock, we head to Stillwater. The only Big 12 battle of the night, it's Bedlam. Cade Cunningham, 17th ranked Oklahoma State. Boy, they, and particularly he, have played very well lately. And number 16, Oklahoma. Joey Brackett says the winner of that game will be a 4 seed for the time being, the loser a 5 seed. They're both comfortably in. That Cunningham's fun to watch.
That he is, and a young man who was a power forward when I met him as a freshman in high school. Nike Elite 100. He came to St. Louis and spent 2 years with us there. And you know, Kevin Boyle did a tremendous job with him at Montverde, putting the basketball in his hands, and because of that, most likely will be the #1 pick in the NBA draft. So a lot of big props to Cade for really developing his game over the past few years.
Quick turnaround in Bedlam. They played Saturday, they're playing again tonight. It's COVID scheduling. So easy on the inbounds. It's Bacot there to just drop it in. And he now has 4 points.
You know, Sean, Armando Bacot was the guy that missed out on a lot of the minutes when Walker Kessler was getting it done on Saturday versus Florida State. Bacot got in foul trouble early, giving the opportunity to Kessler. But give Mondo a lot of credit coming back in this game. Not concerned about what happened in the last one where he wasn't at his best. And playing big here early, already 9 boards.
You asked him about the tattoo on the side of his neck. Did he give you an answer?
Well, his answer was, I've had this. So, again.
Well, you should notice that you've apparently done every North Carolina game this year.
Well, this is true, but I've also, you know, been working with him since he was in the 7th grade. So he didn't have it in the 7th grade, I can tell you that much, but I'm not sure when he got it. Got to call Mom on that one, talk to Christy and find out when he got that tattoo, and it better have her name underneath it.
Under 4.5 to go in the half. And a foul called. As Caleb Love got knocked down.
He's got a lot of ink now. Got a lot of ink
on both sides of the neck.
Well, he got the arm sleeve going on. A lot of ink on Mondo nowadays. And again, when he was a chubby little 7th grader, no ink back then.
From Richmond, Virginia. Is that how you know him?
That is how I know him. Yes, he actually texted me when he was a 7th grader and asked if he could come work out with a couple of guys that I was already training, and showed up in the gym and never left. Lovable young man, great personality, and has turned in to be a pretty good basketball player.
So Buddy Boeheim with 8, and that leaves him 8 away from 1,000 for his career. 4 minutes to go. Still kind of hard to believe this is only a 4-point game with the rebounding disparity and some sloppy turnovers for Syracuse as well. Garrison Brooks, the bucket, senior from Lafayette, Alabama.
But that's been an issue for North Carolina. North Carolina actually leads the turnover margin when they have 8 to only 5 for Syracuse. So if they can stick around and make some shots like they're doing right now, I mean, again, we got a 1-possession game with 3.5 left. Syracuse 4 for 12 from beyond the arc. North Carolina yet to make one.
Guerrier the three. He's an improved three-point shooter over a year ago, and he made 3 all season. They go inside again and power it up. We saw the graphic. Bacot just scored. 0 for 7, Carolina from 3. The man's won 900 games, but we don't want to tell him what to tell the team, but don't shoot any more threes. That ball needs to go inside every single time.
Well, and Syracuse hasn't had any answer for North Carolina on the interior. That would be what you would love to see, especially when you've got a guy like Armando Bacot getting it done early in this game. You would expect the guards to say, hey, the big fella's working, let's get him the basketball. Armando catching on the interior. Dolezaj.
Decision making and most importantly, flow of the game. This team has a great chemistry. I don't know about the group that's calling the game though.
Judge, Corey.
It's the first time we've ever worked together.
Coach taking shots early, Sean.
Yeah, Coach, a little feisty. But it's good to see Fonz got out of the witness protection program. Part of the show. 2:56 to go till halftime. Carolina by 5. They have not trailed in the game. Jumped out to an 11-2 lead. That was the largest lead. Dolezaj. Richmond with Boeheim, Guerrier, and Robert Braswell now in for the Cuse, and another bucket for Buddy Boeheim. So he had 18 against Carolina in the first half of January 12th in Chapel Hill, and he has 11 in the first half so far tonight here in the Carrier Dome.
That three-pointer's the great equalizer right now. Syracuse 5 for 14 from beyond the arc. And when you think about that, that's really been the only way they've been able to stay in this game. North Carolina 0 for from beyond the arc. As Buddy Boeheim, great movement, but love the screen by Quincy Guerrier and telling Kadari Richmond that Buddy's going to be open in his corner. I'm about to get a body on his man, giving him an open look. Great ball movement and recognition by the point guard, but also give number 1 a lot of credit for that screen.
Buddy Boeheim shooting has really come on lately. Like so many, affected by the pauses of COVID stoppages that Syracuse had to endure, particularly early in the year, before the year even started. His shooting has come on of late, the point total up as well, averaging just over 15 for the year, but 18 over the last 5, and 50%. Reminiscent of last year when he made 97 threes in his sophomore year. Carolina turnover, and now amazingly Syracuse could tie or take the lead on this possession.
And if you looked at the stat sheet, there would be no way you would think with Syracuse and the way they've been on the glass, the way they've been out rebound, they would even have a chance in this game. But because of the three-point shooting and the turnovers from North Carolina, they find themselves now tied.
Unbelievable. Dolezaj the bucket. Rick fouled out just 10 minutes in their loss in Atlanta to Georgia Tech on Saturday. Scored just 2 points in that game. They launched another 3. They still haven't made one. Boeheim with it now, and Syracuse can take its first lead of the night with 1.5 minutes to go.
Deshaun, it goes back to your point. When your bigs are doing what North Carolina's bigs are doing, why shoot that shot so early in the clock? Not give Brooks, give Sharp an opportunity in the painted area.
Boeheim open for 3, and Syracuse has the lead. It's first of the night.
When you played well against particular teams, you have confidence coming into that next game. Buddy remembers 18 first half points against North Carolina last time, and he showed it this time, but also knows that they blanked him in the second half. I'm sure he'll be much more aggressive in the second half here tonight.
R.J. Davis's floater popped out. Richmond the drive. And a foul before the bucket.
And a great job here by Marek Dolezaj, recognizing, seeing Buddy moving and relocating to the open spot. And knowing who has the hot hand, getting him the basketball. Buddy already 4 from 8 from downtown here in the first half.
Now 2 points away from becoming the 64th Syracuse player to reach 1,000 career points.
With this match, Buddy's going to heat check on Walker Kessler. Kessler wins that battle.
Leaky Black. He's had some good games against Syracuse. Missed that one. Syracuse could take it down to about 5 seconds to go in the half. And Richmond pulls the plug for a moment, guarded by Anthony Harris. Ten to shoot, 15 in the half. Richmond, a little stop and go move. Buddy Boeheim, another three for 1,001 career points. What a half for Buddy Boeheim. Chance for one last shot. It wouldn't go for Harris. And an unbelievable turn of events here in the Carrier Dome. Sparked by Buddy Boeheim. They end the half on a 14-2 run. Boeheim had 17 points in the half. He had 5 threes. He has 1,001 career points late in his junior year.
Sean, everyone on the North Carolina bench said, don't leave Buddy. Caleb Love left Buddy. Buddy knocked down another three.
Let's send you back to the studio. Here's the halftime report.
His chops for round 2 with Oklahoma. Saturday against the Sooners, he became the first player in the rivalry's history with a 40-point double-double in that overtime victory. 44 minutes of action. Seth, what makes this young man so special? He's projected to be the #1 pick in the upcoming NBA draft.
He could score at all 3 levels and read the defense.
Triple header tomorrow on ESPN. In the middle, it is the main meal. Illinois, Michigan in top 5 showdown in the Big Ten. You get it. 7 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN. Right now, Syracuse and Buddy Boeheim. He's eating from the outside so far, over 1,000 points in his.
And they played well in every other area outside of turnovers and shooting the basketball. And because of that, Syracuse holds the lead.
Third time in the last 6 games, North Carolina did not make a 3-point field goal in the first half. In one of the other games, they went 2 for 14 against Florida State from the 3 in the first half. Of course, they rallied from 12 down at the half in that one to win. Buddy Boeheim fouled. Carolina in the first half Saturday against the Seminoles, you were there, shot 25% from the floor. They went up to 50% in the second half as they won. We asked Roy Williams what changed in the game. He said, well, I knew we couldn't play any worse than we did in the first half. Boeheim, a rare miss from the free throw line.
Another area that hurt North Carolina in that first half against Florida State, they had 14 turnovers. Well, the turnover bug has bit them again today. They got 10 first half turnovers against Syracuse. And Syracuse is a team that comes up with a lot of steals, but they don't force a lot of turnovers. They get the steals because they are able to get back into the lanes in that zone, but they don't force a tremendous amount of turnovers. A lot of these turnovers from North Carolina are self-inflicted wins.
Boogie Black had the foul on Boeheim. Caleb Love, tough shot, it rattled out. There's Bacot. And a chance for a 3-point play. Caleb Love still has not scored in this game.
But oftentimes the best offense for North Carolina is just get a shot on the glass and allow Armando Bacot, Garrison Brooks, Day'Ron Sharp, Walker Kessler to just go after it and look at second chance points, opportunities. North Carolina rebounds 40.1% of their missed shots. They're second in the country when it comes to that percentage. So their best offense oftentimes is just get a shot up on the glass, let that bigs go get it.
A double-double for Bacot. He had one against Syracuse in mid-January in Chapel Hill when he had 15 and 12. Alan Griffin had a very quiet first half. Nice move by Kadari Richmond, and the shot way too strong. He's comfortable with the left hand. That first shot that was too strong was with the right.
And Richmond getting the start here in the second half instead of Joe Girard. But Richmond often makes a difference on the defensive end of the floor. But you mentioned earlier, Sean, he's not 100% either, running very gingerly, as Edwards is also in the lineup here to start the second half.
And no Quincy Guerrier. Griffin a miss. He has not scored for Syracuse. Kind of indicative of the way his season's gone. He's been a bit up and down. He had 26 Saturday in that loss to Georgia Tech. He's 0 for 6 from the floor tonight. He's missed 4 threes.
And Sean, you know this program as well as any, as Caleb Love knocked down the first 3 for North Carolina in the game. But with no Quincy Guerrier to start the second half, would you pretty much assume that we may not see him anymore in this game?
Yeah, that's surprising. You wonder if maybe his knee got stiff as the half went along, or in the locker room at halftime. He's their leading rebounder. That would be job 1 for him tonight. Griffin another miss, and now Carolina with a chance to take the lead. They led by as many as 9 in the first half. Harrison Brooks gets a friendly bounce, and it's North Carolina by 1.
And when you get the ball to that ACC area in the paint, you can have success, especially if you got a guy like Garrison Brooks that can make that 12-foot jump shot on a consistent basis. And Brooks knocking down his 3rd opportunity from there alone in this game.
Dolajai passed up a 16-footer. Richmond for 3, off the mark. That's not a strength of his game, at least not yet as a freshman. Richmond has made just 4 threes, 4 out of 16 for the year coming in.
And Guerrier's at the scorer's table, so we will see him more in this game. Surprising that he didn't start the second half.
Boeheim had it knocked away. That'll be Syracuse ball. And here comes Quincy Guerrier, the sophomore from Montreal, averaging 9 rebounds per game. Playing knees with a Georgia Tech player on Saturday in Atlanta. Jim Boeheim said he could barely run yesterday during their light workout. And as you see in this video, he was limping during the warm-up, but he's trying to power through it.
And he's needed by Syracuse. You see going to Guerrier as soon as he comes in the game. He's the one guy in the painted area that can really cause a problem for North Carolina. 23 points, 11 rebounds for him in the first matchup between these two. And the second leading rebounder in the ACC at 9 a game. So when the way that North Carolina has dominated the glass, he's very important in this game.
Jaron Sharp called for the foul. And Jesse Edwards is the free throw shooter. His playing time has come up lately, just looking for another big body inside. He had 7 points Saturday at Georgia Tech and a career high 8 rebounds. Also matched his career high with 23 minutes played. He puts Syracuse back on top.
And one of the things that Edwards does for Syracuse, he allows Marek Dolajai to go back to the wing position in the zone where he's so effective. You see Dolajai coming up with a big play already and getting Syracuse out in transition.
Buddy Boeheim, a 3 from right in front of his father on the Syracuse bench. 21 for Boeheim. Leaky Black was well defended by Guerrier, but it's there for Bacot to drop it in.
Edwards goes for the block shot, and when you, as the biggest guy on the floor, you leave, that leaves your teammates disadvantaged on the other side trying to come up with the rebound. But Kadari Richmond comes back, knocks down the mid-range jumper.
Syracuse 13-8 on the bubble. They've lost 2 in a row after they had won 2 straight in 6 out of 8. Richmond. Dolajai shut off by Bacot.
You see right now when Buddy Boeheim gives the basketball up, Caleb Love goes into deny mode. And because Buddy's doing a great job moving without the ball. And right now it's almost as though North Carolina playing a box of one, not giving him any opportunities once he gives the basketball up.
Nice move by Guerrier. Showed some quickness there, sore knee and all.
Sean, I'm wondering if Guerrier actually stayed in the locker room a little longer to get some treatment. Probably the reason he didn't start the second half. But
quite possible.
Yeah, you mentioned he does look a bit more springy, especially on that last move.
The first pick in the next NBA draft.
In both big guards, and you see Austin Reeves' numbers, 17.5 points per game, but the 5.1 assists. Give Davion Harmon a lot of credit moving over to the 2 when Reeves came to Oklahoma and has really been a difference maker for them, as Cade Cunningham has truly been a difference maker for the Cowboys.
Interesting defense now. They had Jaron Sharp, the big guy, up on Boeheim on the perimeter. Quincy Guerrier scored inside.
And Sean, I have to correct. I guess Guerrier did start the second half. I didn't see him out, but he must have gone out of the game really quickly. But I'm sure Jim Boeheim is happy to have him back on the floor as he's been producing here in the second half, especially with his opportunities around the basket.
And a turnover for North Carolina. Jim Boeheim's team in need of a big win. This would qualify. North Carolina has just one win against a ranked opponent all year, and that was against Florida State on Saturday. In the lane, Richmond, and Syracuse widens its largest lead of the night. It's now 10.
And both these teams are great at home. Syracuse, as you mentioned, 11-1 at home this year. North Carolina undefeated in the Dean Dome outside of that loss to Marquette. So they're undefeated in the ACC play, but they're different teams when they're playing on their home courts in comparison to when they have to step away.
Rick Dolajai still in the game. He's playing with 3 fouls. That could be a factor. A little bit of everything tonight, but you can see by that stat line, 3 assists, 3 steals, 3 blocks, 4 rebounds, but also the 3 fouls. Carolina's woes from beyond the arc continue. They are 290th in the country out of 340 in 3-point field goal percentage. Only Miami worse than the ACC. Held ball and the North Carolina ball with 19 to shoot.
Yeah, this North Carolina team on pace to be the 2nd worst 3-point shooting team in the history of the Story program, only behind last year's team,
which was just barely over 30%. This one's just a fraction under 31%, but that percentage going down with the 1 for 13 tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. They may actually be under that team now after tonight.
Davis missed another 3. Run down by Sharp. He has trouble with the ball, and it's last touched by Boeheim. So it's Black, Playtech, Davis, Kessler, and Sharp for North Carolina. 10 to shoot. Playtech back in his home state of New York. He's from the Albany area. His pass too hot for Kessler.
Another turnover now. 15 turnovers for North Carolina, Sean. And again, when you're not going to make threes, the last thing you can continue to do is give the basketball back and give Buddy Boeheim opportunities. He misfires on that one. But North Carolina no longer getting quality shots. Seth Greenberg mentioned at halftime is understanding the guards knowing the flow of the game, what they have to do. You mentioned earlier in the game, get the ball inside, allow the big guys to be able to make plays. But when you continue to turn it over on the perimeter, that helps no one for Roy Williams and his club.
The Heels now 1 out of 14 from behind the arc. Another problem they've had all year is they're not a good first half team. They've been outscored by 28 points in the first half this year, including tonight's 6-point deficit. They have outscored their opponents by 135 in the second half entering tonight.
That never more evident than Saturday against Florida State in their home building.
Nice inbounding play. Dolajai couldn't finish. Scrum, and it winds up with Richmond. Boeheim with time and missed the shot. Jesse Edwards the rebound. Again tonight, Richmond seeing more playing time than he was early in the year, and Gerard less. Edwards, shot clock violation. He got tangled up underneath the bucket.
Down 10 for North Carolina. They're starting to get in danger zone. Syracuse is starting to play with even more confidence on the offensive end of the floor. If you take away the shot clock violation, they have been getting what they want on their offensive end. North Carolina struggling to get the basketball inside now to their bigs. And the turnovers have really hampered them here in the second half.
Bacot, good defense by Edwards, who held his ground. Richmond trying to drive on the shorter Davis, who's listed at 6 feet. That might be generous. Boeheim's 3 pops out. What a rebound by Guerrier.
Quincy Guerrier looks like a different man here in the second half. He's now showing that explosiveness that we've gotten used to seeing from one of the most improved in ACC candidates all year long.
Andrew Playtech, that's just not a shot that they want. And I believe they call goaltending. I don't think Jim Boeheim thought that was going to reach the rim. Clarence Armstrong, the outside official, was trying to explain it to Jim Boeheim.
Quincy Guerrier continues to be productive on the interior, the offensive board, and the putback as Guerrier bringing the energy.
Well, Buddy Boeheim's dad, Jim, didn't like the call goaltending as we went to the break, but as we had a chance to look at it, Andrew Platek's shot was going to, at the very least, hit the rim. Clearly a goaltend against Jesse Edwards. So it's the second three-point field goal of the night made by North Carolina. Now 2 for 15. They continue to dominate in the paint, but Syracuse has the decided advantage from beyond the arc.
And the points off turnovers plus 17 for Syracuse. That's been a tremendous difference maker for North Carolina when they've gotten shots, even though they're not shooting the ball very well from the field. They are getting offensive rebounds and second chance points, but when you turn the basketball over, you don't have that opportunity.
Carolina tried to trap and got called for a foul. Platek called for his first. Well, Carolina has turned it over 17 times, 13 of them in live action. And that's going to be a problem. And Roy Williams nailed it, didn't he, when we spoke of this morning? So I'm petrified of this game because I don't know which team is going to show up for us tonight. They looked so good at the start of this game. Ooh, Richmond, nice ball fake. Dolajai's open. Syracuse leads. We talked all night long about oddities in this game. They have the 9-point lead without a single point from their leading scorer, Alan Griffin, who averages 15.5 per game.
Griffin really hasn't gotten many minutes in this game. Jesse Edwards doing a great job on the interior and putting Mark Dolajai back into his natural position in the zone.
R.J. Davis, nice move. A freshman from White Plains, New York, out of Archbishop Stepinac. Same high school at which Alan Griffin played. And Alan's younger brother, A.J. Griffin, is one of the top prospects in the country in high school this year. He'll go to Duke. ESPN has him ranked number 14 in the country among all the high school prospects. Jesse Edwards, line drive floater. Platek just did save it, although the Syracuse bench thought the ball hit the end line. Davis not afraid to go inside. He gets bumped by Dolajai, who doesn't like the call. And nor does Jim Boeheim, and that's a huge call because it's Dolajai's fourth. So they'll send Alan Griffin back into the game.
Caleb Love finding R.J. Davis under the basket. Dolajai was vertical on that possession. It almost looked as though R.J. Davis was still moving and went into Dolajai. However, regardless, it's going to be number 4 on Dolajai as he has to exit Alan Griffin back into the game. Be interesting to see if Griffin can get going here. 0 for 7 from the field and 0 for 5 from beyond the three-point arc for him. So Syracuse needs him to be playing good basketball to try to finish this up.
We mentioned the Syracuse bench, which had a good view of it, upset, and with good reason. That ball did hit the end line after deflected off Platek. Richmond, and he's called for an offensive foul. And momentum has shifted back to the Tar Heels in this back and forth game. 7-0 and a chance to extend that.
Roy Williams going back with the freshman backcourt of R.J. Davis and Caleb Love. This is the way they started the season, and now looking for some type of offensive punch. Kerwin Walton has not had a good shooting day at all.
Does it seem to you that Syracuse has started to go at a slower pace in the half court and almost taking themselves out of the momentum they had? Guerrier fires an air ball out of bounds off Bacot.
And Guerrier, who made 2 threes in the first half, long on that one, which is odd when you played as well as he has here in the second half. Got a couple buckets in the painted area, normally playing with confidence.
North Carolina has won 10 of the last 11 head-to-head with Syracuse. Jim Boeheim has said many times this is just a really tough matchup for the Orange with the size and strength of North Carolina inside their rebounding prowess. Richmond missed a jumper.
Sean, to answer your question, I do believe that Syracuse has slowed down a bit offensively, but I think it's North Carolina's defense that we have to give credit for that, but no one to this point has been able to slow down Buddy Boeheim.
Might have gotten away with a little shove with the free arm to get himself open for that shot, but another demonstration of his improved ability to get his own shot and not just be a standstill three-point shooter. Quincy Guerrier called for the foul. Gives us a chance to remind you that Saturday we have a full day of college basketball across all of our networks and the app. And the big one is number 4, Illinois, number 7, Ohio State, and then the renewal of the best rivalry in college basketball, Duke and North Carolina. That one's a sonic blockbuster. It should be every time they get together. Saturday at 6, Chapel Hill. North Carolina trying to sweep that season series. UNC won with 25 points from Caleb Love, who hasn't scored anything near that since. It'll be a sonic blockbuster Saturday at 6. Duke right there on the bubble among the first 4 out, according to Joey Brackets.
And 2 big games this week for the Blue Devils, at Georgia Tech and then at UNC. And both teams in the mix for the NCAA tournament.
Guerrier doing some work. Syracuse bench really upset that Buddy Boeheim didn't get sent to the line. Jim Boeheim still giving it to Jamie Lucky.
Sean, Guerrier has 3 rebounds in this game, and all 3 of them on the offensive glass. He's been a factor for Syracuse, coming up with big opportunities on the painted area.
Whoa! Well, Boeheim got the call on that one. Buddy Boeheim, the acrobatic score and the bucket. The previous foul was on Day'Ron Sharp, and this one for the hip check is going to go against Caleb Love.
But that's when you know it's going well for you. Buddy Boeheim falling down, still able to finish through the contact. And Buddy having himself a night.
A chance for career high. His career high is 29. It wasn't long ago on February 20th. And they came from 20 down to beat Notre Dame here in the Dome.
Sean, I got to ask you, as a Syracuse alum, what do you think about this free throw shooting from the Orange this year? I mean,
it's unlike anything we've ever seen before. One of the best in the country. Boeheim. And again, his dad looking for a foul call. Instead, they just say it's out of bounds to Syracuse. Yeah, traditionally, you know, Orange Nation knows they've not been a good free throw shooting team, and there have been many times when that has really hurt. But this team, shooting a percentage to be way above the 75%. That team in the early 80s, 83, 84. A dunk by Edwards, and that brings the Orange bench to life as the lead goes back up to double digits with 8 minutes to go.
And I love the confidence that Jesse Edwards is playing with right now. You mentioned the career high 8 rebounds for him against Georgia Tech on Saturday, but right now he is giving Syracuse a huge lift, the same way he did in the Miami game here, and has been special on the defensive end, trying to stem some of this defense, rebounding.
Harris fouled, might be Edwards. Was giving him some good minutes with Dolajai seated with 4 or 5.
For 175 years, New York Life has been helping people act on their lows.
6 threes for Buddy in this game as he's been ultra aggressive on the offensive end of the floor, going over 1,000 points and then some on the evening for Buddy, and not just doing it from beyond the arc, taking the basketball to the rim, attacking the painted area, and finishing through contact. As now he sits with 1,010 points, 210 more than Big Bro. And I'll let you do the math on that.
Jimmy's season, of course, the Ivy League didn't play this year. And Jim Boeheim scored 745 points. Of course, when he was here, freshmen weren't eligible to play. And his job was getting the ball to a guy named Dave Bing.
That's not a bad job to have.
Well, Jim, I believe, scored about 14 points per game. Played professionally in the old Eastern League. Used to drive down to Pennsylvania, probably some icy, snowy nights down I-81 to go play. And come back up here to Syracuse. Arrived on this campus in 1962 as a freshman, now 76 years old. 1 out of 2 for Harris will come out of the game, replaced by Kerwin Walton. One of Coach Boeheim's concerns, foul trouble in the front court. Edwards just picked up his 4th. He's continuing to play. They keep Dolajai on the bench for now. Split of the defense by Richmond. He tried to pass it underneath to Edwards, and it got intercepted.
That's a play where Kadari Richmond would want that one back. It'd be simpler for him just to shoot the basketball and give Edwards a chance to go after the offensive glass.
Walton had a wide open 3. He's the best 3-point shooter by far, and it popped out. Out of bounds to Syracuse. North Carolina didn't like that call. 0 for 7 tonight for Kerwin Walton. From beyond the arc, the team 2 for 16.
It's been a struggle for North Carolina from beyond the arc, and we mentioned the team last year that shot terribly, but they did come into this building and shoot lights out a season ago with Cole Anthony. And so I'm sure Coach Williams was hoping they would have some of that same good fortune shooting the basketball in the dome here tonight, but no such luck. As they have struggled, as you mentioned, from beyond the arc. Only 2 made 3-point field goals, and one of those actually didn't go in. It was a goaltend.
Leaky Black called for his 2nd foul. North Carolina 1 away from the bonus. Each team with 16 fouls, so the next one will trigger a 1-and-1. In it goes to Guerrier. He scores inside.
And one of the things that North Carolina does, they put the biggest guy on the inbounder. So if you get the basketball on the floor, Guerrier is going to have an opportunity to score over a smaller defender, which we've seen that a couple of times already.
Davis the miss. Guerrier the run out. They should bang his other knee on that Syracuse bench, the way he's playing with the sore left knee. And it's Davis who hustled back on defense after his miss. And again, you know, you question his shot selection, Davis's, on the last possession.
Well, you see going over the top, Quincy Guerrier with the size advantage over Kerwin Walton, and then getting out in transition. Kadari Richmond finding Guerrier, who does a tremendous job finishing on the opposite side of the rim. And both those plays, Sean, contact on both. I mean, they could have easily been called fouls and given Guerrier an opportunity at the free throw line.
Davis back on his feet to the bench. So Quincy Guerrier, who was terrific in their loss in Chapel Hill on January 12th when he had 23 and 11 in 37 minutes before fouling out. He also blocked 5 shots, a career high in that game. He has emerged in a big way here in the second half.
The officials looking at the play on the end as Guerrier's elbow comes out, making contact. Don't think it's intentional. However, it doesn't have to be intentional to be called a flagrant. But that looked to be simply a basketball play.
And apparently that's the ruling after the viewing of it. 9-1 run for Syracuse. Davis explaining what happened to him.
Yeah, I said it was some contact on the play. I didn't know that Guerrier was the one initiating.
I didn't see that live either. And when you're down this much and you can't make threes, it's that much tougher to come back, especially since they really seem to have gone away from the power game inside. Walton, another outside shot. Bacot, his season high 14th rebound of the game. And Jesse Edwards, I believe, is just fouled out. So Dolajai will come back in. A scrappy effort by Edwards, who plays a career high 24 minutes, scores 6 points, and well, the second straight game as a career high in rebounds with 8.
Yeah, Edwards gave Syracuse great minutes.
And Jim Boeheim has said he's skilled. He'd rather not have to play him this early. He wants him to get bigger and stronger, but he has to play out of necessity. And he has become much more of a factor here. Recent games, Bacot 1 out of 2. Leaky Black did a nice job to poke it away, but Carolina couldn't come up with it. In years gone by, this is about the point of the game, usually around 5 minutes with a lead like this, where Coach Boeheim will take the air out of the ball in the half-court offense and run some clock.
And rightfully so, of course, with a 12-point lead, you want to make sure you get quality looks every time down the floor.
That's really not what they want. Three-point shooting, not Guerrier's specialty, even though he is better. Dolajai hit the deck. It was away from the ball, and Clarence Armstrong has a foul on Clarence Brooks. Excuse me, Garrison Brooks.
Yeah, Garrison Brooks trying to create space on that one. And Mark Dolajai, who, of course, we've seen take hits all season long. Dolajai sells that one a little bit. Garrison Brooks was guilty. He did extend that left forearm. And you see North Carolina now picking up their full court pressure, but almost token pressure once Syracuse gets the basketball inbound. As you mentioned, Coach Boeheim going to try to slow things down a bit, be a little more deliberate on the offensive end of the floor.
By the way, if Clarence Brooks sounds familiar, he was a longtime assistant coach here at Syracuse for football under the late, great Hall of Famer Dick McPherson, and a wonderful guy, both Coach Mack and Coach Brooks.
You could throw out any name and you know someone that
Clarence
has
Brooks was a wonderful guy. Coached for John Harbaugh in the NFL with the Ravens, and really, really nice man. So a 12-point game, 5:17 to go. Both teams are in the bonus.
North Carolina making the change.
Dolajai attacks with those 4 fouls. The shot clock was running out. And the lead goes to 14, the biggest of the night. Leaky Black right back to the bucket. And a chance for 3. He's had some of his best games against Syracuse. He had his then career high 14 points in their loss to the Orange in the ACC second round in Greensboro.
A nice play by Leaky Black, attacking the basket, not settling for the jump shot. With Edwards out of the game, not much size at all in the paint area for Syracuse. Dolajai playing with 4 fouls. You would expect North Carolina to go to the basket a little more.
And bring some pressure as we go under 5 minutes to go. And I think we're going to see what we've seen from Coach Boeheim. So remember, he's holding his hand up, as you can see, to say, let's not be in any hurry here. Up by 11 with under 5 to go. Buddy Boeheim. Caleb Love quickly the other way. And if that's on Dolajai, he is just fouled out. There were 2 Syracuse players there, and they give it to Richmond. Two fouls on Richmond, 9 team fouls on the Orange, so the next one will put the double bonus into effect. Caleb Love made the first, 80% free throw shooter. Davis back in for the first time since taking that shot to the face from Quincy Guerrier.
At this point, you would expect for North Carolina to start picking up the pressure. They have their guys up, but they're not going after trapping, etc. At some point, you're going to see Roy Williams try to go after a trap, see if they can force Syracuse into some turnovers. There goes the trap. Syracuse handling it very well, but only one and done as far as the traps are concerned from North Carolina.
And tight man-to-man with Love up on Richmond. Love deflected it.
Richmond is running around very gimpy.
Guerrier wide open off the field from Dolajai.
And Sean, Kadari Richmond's asking for a sub to get out of the game, and he's played the entire second half.
Well, as we mentioned, he was gimpy coming in. Coach Boeheim wasn't sure he'd play. And a nice bucket inside. R.J. Davis. 9-point game, 3:50 to go, and Richmond does limp off. I was a little surprised they didn't put Joe Girard back in anyway, only for some ball handling. He's played very little tonight, just 6 minutes. Timeout, ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball, brought to you by Wendy's. Try the new jalapeno popper chicken sandwich and salad today.
20 minutes away. Sean, Corey, back to you.
All right, just under 4 minutes to go here, gentlemen. Entertaining start of our big Monday doubleheader from the Carrier Dome in Syracuse. Kadari Richmond has gone to the bench with a very painful leg. He was grimacing while getting medical attention, has an ice bag on his right knee right now. He came in banged up.
Sean, where that can really get interesting is Richmond is the best ball handler for Syracuse as Griffin's able to find his, I think that's his first bucket of the game.
His first basket of the night, 1 for 9 from the floor for their leading scorer on the season. Bacot attacks and scores as he went right in to Griffin. And here's Gerard, their leading assist man. 3-on-2, they choose not to attack as the clock goes under 3 minutes to go.
It's the luxury of having a guy like Marek Dolezaj who can handle the basketball and make plays not just for himself but for others at this time of the game. And you mentioned before, very good free throw shooter.
That could not have gone better for Syracuse. They took 29 seconds off the clock. It looked like it was going to be kind of a tough shot for Dolezaj, but he got fouled on the arm by Bacot on the way up. Both teams are over the limit. Dolezaj will shoot 2. I mentioned earlier, 86% behind only Jose Alvarado of Georgia Tech in the ACC, and wouldn't you know?
That's why I just got quiet. Bad miss by Caleb Love coming off the screen on that possession. North Carolina continues to struggle from beyond the arc. All Roy Williams can do is put his hands on top of his head and wonder what happened to the team that he saw in the second half versus Florida State on Saturday.
They ripped the ball away from Griffin. R.J. Davis had it blocked by Griffin, and Dolezaj struggled to save it and asked Jamie Luckey for a timeout. What a play by Griffin after they double teamed him and took the ball away. Syracuse's leading shot blocker races back and makes a huge play.
Alan Griffin not giving up on the play, although he
a home run ball against the press, and it got turned over. Andrew Platek on the offensive glass. And there's a foul. Jim Boeheim wondering what his team's doing. Marek Dolezaj, the inbounder, tried to throw a bomb. I don't know if it was deflected or just slipped out of his hand, but it was nowhere.
Well, the best part of the whole play, and this is what I miss about being in the arena, seeing Jim Boeheim's reaction when Dolezaj's pass came off his hand before it even got intercepted. He knew it was wrong from the beginning, and he was already up asking, "What are you doing?"
Led to the second foul on Buddy Boeheim. Leaky Black made the first. Missed the second. Now it's Kessler attacking.
That's the problem. Giving up offensive rebounds off of free throw misses.
Caleb Love, a big 3 for North Carolina. They're right back in it. The ill-advised inbounding pass might have been a momentum turner.
It turns into a 4-point possession for North Carolina. You make the first free throw, and then you miss the second free throw, but Walker Kessler does a great job coming up with another offensive rebound. And just like that is Caleb Love knocking down the 3, his second 3 of the game.
And their third as a team, now 3 out of 19. With that rebounding edge a big factor, as we saw just there. 49-30 the boards in favor of the Tar Heels. Wednesday on the ACC network. Clemson and Syracuse at 5. And NC State squares off against Notre Dame. And they'll cap the day with Florida State hosting Boston College. Don't have ACCN? Go to getaccn.com for instant access. And congratulations to Leonard Hamilton A 5-year contract extension announced today.
Congrats.
First place team.
Congrats to Coach Ham, and he actually told me in a conversation this summer he thought he had about 5 more years in him. So this,
at least,
and this makes it will be 6. He was including this year as well. So you know,
one of the several 70-somethings in this league, including Roy Williams and Jim Boeheim.
And Sean, when people talk about the ACC being down and whatever it may be, that's what makes the ACC the best conference in the country to me. It's the coaches. And the guys that are there on a consistent basis showing up, leading these teams. You have so many different styles of play.
Dolajai, they come to double him. Gerard, Syracuse, a lot of good free throw shooters on the floor. 4 of them are 80+ of the 5 on the court. And Guerrier is 71 for the year. Carolina desperately needs a stop. Shot clock down to 5. Griffin working on Davis, missed the shorty. Guerrier missed the tip. 2 great opportunities for Syracuse. And now it's Love for 3, an air ball. And a foul on the follow-up action against North Carolina. Buddy Boeheim a little slow as he ran out to contest Love's 3.
I believe Buddy came down on Caleb Love's foot after going after that shot, but Quincy Guerrier struggling to get back down the floor after his collision on the defensive end.
Well, they have enough bodies to get to the finish. Guerrier playing on a sore left knee all night long. Boy, Griffin got a great look, and Guerrier as well. And Guerrier and Davis got tangled up. I don't think that one's related to the knee injury.
I don't believe so, but hurts even worse.
Coach Boeheim could use a timeout if he wanted to buy him a little more time. Griffin made the front end of the 1-and-1. That'll be the last 1-and-1 of this game. The next one is the double bonus. Leaky Black the foul. His third.
2 big free throws there to make this a 3-possession game now.
And a team that has such a hard time making a 3, that really hurts in this situation. Nice pass by Davis. Robert Braswell just into the game, thought that was clean up top. And Day'Ron Sharp is going to go to the free throw line. Jamie Lucky signaling that Braswell hit him in the head.
And Braswell coming over, doing a great job. He got all ball up top, but Jamie Lucky signaling that elbow to the head of Day'Ron Sharp. And a great view there. You see exactly what Jamie Lucky was talking about in that block. He did get good basketball, but hoops upside the head as well.
Sharp made the free throw. And he's just 52.4% for the year. He has made 7 of his last 10. And another long rebound comes back to Carolina. Davis, a deep 3. Oh, what a bounce. It was a rock off the back rim, and it dribbles in to make it a 4-point game.
Sean, someone just wants this game to be interesting for us. There's no way that basketball should have gone in when you consider the way it hits the back of the rim and just dies somehow going in for R.J. Davis. But the second time North Carolina's gotten a 4-point possession, making the first free throw, and then a 3-pointer off an offensive rebound on a missed free throw.
Syracuse on the ropes here, just trying to get to the bell. They had a 14-point lead with 5:18 to go. When you think back to that 10-point lead and the ill-advised inbounding pass by Dolajai really seemed to turn the game, brought North Carolina back to life and put Syracuse a bit on its heels. Dolajai will throw it in again with Boeheim, Gerard, Griffin, and Braswell. They won't guard the inbounder. Smaller, quick lineup out there for Roy Williams. They want a quick steal and then perhaps a foul. Gerard, shorter player in trouble. Timeout. Good defense by Carolina.
We have to mention Kadari Richmond out of this game We're not sure what the injury was.
It's a right leg injury for sure. He came in with what Coach Boeheim described as a lower body injury. And he was in a lot of pain with his right leg when he left the game. Here's another guy who came in with a sore knee, the left knee for Quincy Guerrier, clearly limping during the warm-ups, but he has 18 points and 6 rebounds.
And Guerrier came in the game and went to work, often taking advantage of smaller defenders trying to guard him in the post area, getting out in transition and finishing. And then, of course, offensive rebounding and finishing around the rim has been his specialty all season long. Not as many rebounds for the second leading rebounder in the ACC, but he's had timely rebounds, especially on the offensive end.
Dolajai threw it into Gerard. He has trouble on the dribble. Braswell, that's the guy they should foul if they can. He throws it away. 23 seconds to go. Love all the way to the bucket. He scores. It's a 2-point game, and Carolina calls timeout.
Sean, this is the way for Syracuse not to finish a game. And the mistake by Joe Girard here is giving the basketball to Braswell. As a point guard, you dribble it out, find a way to get out of the trap, and if you cannot, you do not want to just give the basketball up to the worst free throw shooter and the guy that doesn't play as many minutes, who hasn't been in this situation before. When you've got Griffin on the floor, as well as Boeheim and Dolajai, Braswell's not the guy you want to give the basketball to in that position.
Well, my question would be, where's Guerrier? I mean, it has to be that the knee.
Well, we saw Guerrier.
But here he is in the huddle. I mean, why is Braswell on the floor and not Guerrier? Braswell is a good free throw shooter. I said he's the guy you want to foul because he's the least experienced. But he's 11 out of 12 for the year. Limited sample, but he's not used to going up to that line. Usually his free throws are in garbage time.
But Guerrier's back on the floor now. We saw him take a shot to the midsection earlier, and he's been trying to walk that off. But Jim Boeheim now in a one-possession game, a 2-point lead, having to get Guerrier back on the floor in a crucial scenario for Syracuse to handle the pressure.
Syracuse had a 10-point lead with just under 2 minutes to go. They are clinging to it now. It's almost as if nobody wants the ball. Gerard fouled. It'll be a 2-shot opportunity. Davis called for the foul. Gerard had a terrific freshman season, at least relative to this season. He's 80% from the line this year. Last year he was 89.4. Wow.
Well, we take into consideration Gerard did not play in the second half until Kadari Richmond went out. So when you're a guy that starts every game this year and you've struggled at times up and down, you have to start to wonder and question in your mind. Your confidence starts to waver when you're sitting over there watching your backup play all the minutes.
1 out of 2, but now a 3-pointer could tie. And they elect to foul, which is interesting with that much time left on the clock. And a team that is among the worst 3-point shooting teams in the country.
And Joe Girard looked over immediately after the free throw to Jim Boeheim and asked if he should foul. But in live action, I'm not sure that Boeheim gave him an answer. He didn't seem as though he wanted him to foul at that point.
And that's early to foul.
Oh, agreed. Agreed.
Usually you do that when there's less time on the clock. So Caleb Love, good free throw shooter, 80%, way short. Well, the best play down the stretch here for Carolina has been the missed free throw tap out. So Kessler in perhaps to try to do that. Dolajai will try to block him out. Guerrier and Garrison Brooks on the other side. He missed them both, and Gerard the rebound, and he's fouled by Garrison Brooks.
Big play there by Joe Girard, sneaking in and getting the rebound, especially when the big guys have their hands full trying to keep North Carolina's bigs and Kessler and Brooks off of the offensive glass.
2 more for Girard. Sigh of relief on that Syracuse bench as the lead goes to 4. I told you a while ago, watch this a lot. Syracuse, they pulled the plug on the offense. And more often than not, it winds up in the win column, but more often than not, too, it seems it winds up as a seat swarmer.
Regardless, it got interesting.
Yeah, and Brooks scores at the bucket, but Syracuse hangs on for a win that will put Jim Boeheim's team back on the bubble, according to Joey Brackets. And Jim Boeheim, typical Jim Boeheim, when you talk to him, we can't beat this team. They're too big, they're too strong. They won 10 out of 11. I said, well, you beat them, you killed them last year in the ACC tournament. You beat them 81-53. Said that was one of the best games any of my teams has ever played. Everybody played great that night. And of course, it was the end of a lousy year for North Carolina. But Roy Williams still perplexed, trying to figure out which is his real team.
Had great reasoning for being petrified coming into this building, but for Syracuse, they've got Clemson coming in next. Another opportunity against a team that is in the tournament field. If Syracuse is able to come away with the win, who knows what happens in Greensboro.
Well, a big night for the Orange, a 72-70 winner over North Carolina. For Corey Alexander, Sean McDonough saying so long from the Carrier Dome, where Buddy Boeheim became a 1,000-point career scorer. The 64th Syracuse player to do it. He had 17 in the first half. Syracuse wins despite being out-rebounded 53-33. Coming up next, Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. So let's send you now to Bob Wischusen and Fran.